Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa and you are watching the Exploring Oracle, or the Exploracle for short. So if you're new here, what we usually do is I show you a deck, then we go through all of the cards, talk about the card stock, see how the deck shuffles, and at the end we also pick a card and see how the guidebook reads. So for today, we will be taking a look at this mass market Oracle deck called the Crystal Grid Oracle. I believe this is a re-release and this is now called the Deluxe edition, and it is by Nicola McIntosh. So this is what the size of the box looks like. It is a Rockpool publication and it says, expand your self-awareness with help from the Crystal Kingdom. As a new age is heralded in, you need to shift what guides you, as the old patterns and behaviors that once served you no longer will. This deluxe deck asks you to expand your thinking, seeing and perceiving by pushing yourself further. Completely trust yourself and spirit and realize that this oracle is much more than just a tool. It is a direct link to spirit and source. Let go of your fears and trust the information you receive. Most importantly, this deck calls you to take the time out of your busy schedule, grab a cuppa, and connect with the incredible energy that works through these cards. Now, I actually have a couple of videos about crystal oracles here on my channel because I am a big fan of crystals. But this is the first time that I will be talking about a crystal grid oracle. So what is a crystal grid? So if you see the samples here, basically they're like an arrangement of crystals in the pattern. So I don't do them a lot, but I do have these like boards that I can put tumbles in to make my own grids. But it's not something that I'm good at, or that I have enough crystals to do, especially the smaller crystals that would make up those grids. So I thought that this would be a great way for me to work with the energy of a crystal grid without having to make my own. So let's start and let's take a look at the guidebook first. Okay, so I think my camera is not focusing too well. Okay, so the Crystal Grid Oracle, it's a full color guidebook. For the table of contents, you have an introduction, how to use the cards, and then you go into the Crystal Grid Oracle cards, which you have 72 of, before you talk about the author and the illustrator. So another thing I like about it is there are 72 cards in this deck, so it is a lot of value for your money. So you have an introduction, how to use the cards. You do have some spreads, an obstacle spread, life path spread, some exercises, meditating versus journeying, so some mindfulness practices here, tree of life grounding exercise, sample crystal meditation, sample crystal shamanic journey. So there's quite a lot of information in the book, and that's even before you go into the actual grids. Then for each grid, you have about 2 to 3 pages each, a picture of the card, the name of the crystal or the main crystal, what it's about, and then also an exercise. So I really like that that I can learn a lot from this guidebook, and basically I can just pull a card and use that, set it up on my workspace or anything like that, and it's like I'm also channeling that particular grid, even though I don't own those crystals. Alright, so let's take a look at these cards. These are the backs. They are not reversible because of this detail, but it's hardly noticeable. The cardstock is matte. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. It snaps back really well. It is bigger than your standard tarot size card, about this size. Oh, there's a better contrast here. So it is wider and just a little bit taller. I don't mind the cardstock. It is also gilded in this gold. Now the gilding, it doesn't seem sharp, so I don't really mind it. I'm not always a fan of gilding, but yeah, I think this one I don't have any issues with. I almost spent this card, but I'm glad that I didn't. Anyway, let's zoom in and take a closer look at all of the cards. Okay, so you have Black Moonstone for emotions, spirit guides, communication. So, you know, I really do love crystal grids. I love how they look. I love that there is a mix of crystals and a mix of energies in them. And I always have, when I try to make them, it's like I always think, would these crystals work well together, or would they because there's like a symmetry that's in them that I don't always get, or that I can't always recreate because of my crystals, or the crystals that I currently have. And I don't really have a lot of the smaller crystals that I can use to create these grids. And I really like that this deck exists, and that I can just use a card whenever I want to channel that particular energy. Now, I mentioned that this was a re-release, and previously I think it had fewer cards. So now there's 72. So I think it's a really good value. I thought there was another card here. Soul Healing. Tangerine Quartz. Now, the crystal name is a little bit smaller. So for those with issues, vision problems like myself, it might be a little bit difficult to read, but it's not too bad because it's in a clear font, and there is enough contrast with the background that you can easily see it. If you just hold it up a little bit closer, now I would probably use this intentionally, like picking intentionally from the deck which grid that I would like to work with. Let's say I want to channel love. I would be picking this particular grid specifically from the deck. I'm not sure how well it would read for me if I would be using it like a daily poll kind of thing. But when I saw this, it was really more, my intent was really to just use it to channel this particular grid's energy whenever I felt like I needed it. But of course, there's no right or wrong way to use your card. So if you are called to use it differently, then I think whatever it is that you're called to do would be a good thing to try with this particular deck. Release. Petrified wood. Some of the crystals I'm familiar with, some are quite new to me. I don't have a prophecy stone yet. And yeah, the good thing about these grids or these crystal decks is that for those that you don't, for those crystals that you don't own, because there's a lot of them, you don't need to buy that particular crystal or to get that particular crystal, because you can work with the energy of the crystals on the cards. And I think that's why I am drawn to crystal decks, even though I already have quite an extensive crystal collection. I know that I won't be able to own them all, and again, for crystal grids, this is something that I feel would make my life a whole lot easier. I also don't know that crystal. I have a really beautiful ammonite. I've shown it a couple of times on this channel actually. Purpose. I really like that there are a lot of cards. You know, for oracle decks, the more the merrier. And it just gives a whole lot of value, more value to the deck. Although, I don't know. I'm thinking if I actually have oracle decks that are like 30 cards, I probably have a few. But now when I do decide to purchase, anything below 40 seems really thin for me. So if it's less than 40 cards, I'm quite hesitant to purchase it. But I know that some people don't really mind fewer cards as long as they really resonate with it. I'm more of the quantity over quality, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, because you're not always going to resonate with all of the cards, and I like the, you know, if there's a lot of cards, especially with oracle decks, I can choose to just take out the ones that I don't resonate with and still end up with a substantial deck. Then you have strength and intuition. Alright, so like we usually do in these flip throughs, I zoomed out so that we can see how this deck shuffles. It is a little bit bigger, so let's see if I can shuffle it this way. I can, but usually for larger cards, I do tend to shuffle this way. And for me, I think that produces a better result. Or you can also just like drop them like that. So whatever is comfortable for you, do that. I don't see a lot of issues with the shuffling. At least I don't think so. Overhand or side shuffling is also fine. It doesn't, I don't feel it clumping or sticking to each other, which is great because I usually work with jumpers. Okay, so let's see if we can, oh, okay. So we got a jumper here, and it is Crossroads for Chastolite. Do I have Chastolite here? I don't think I have it here. Within reach. I know I have it somewhere, but it's this really cool crystal. Let me show you. It's like a crystal that forms a cross on the actual crystal, so it's really quite cool in that sense. It's a grounding crystal. Okay, it's not focusing. So yeah, let me just get the guidebook and let's see what it says about this card. Okay, so Crossroads or Chastolite. The keywords are Crossroads, Protection, Transmutation. And the other crystals are, aside from the Chastolite, which is at the center of the grid, you have Staurolite and Quartz. So I'm not familiar with Staurolite, but the Quartz are probably these points that are around, the grid. Okay, and it says, are you at a crossroads or torn in two directions? Have you found yourself in a position where you have to make a choice but are unclear which road to take? Sometimes it's hard when you're waiting for an answer to come, but it just hasn't. Your feelings need to be your compass. If you feel joy, happiness, or excitement when you think of an option, you know which road to follow regardless of whether or not it is the logical road to go down. Follow the pull and see where it takes you. Your intuition is always right. And the more you learn to trust it, the more you align yourself to your soul purpose. Your intuition is your own soul guiding you where you need to go. Remember that there is no right or wrong path to go down, only lessons to learn from. Sometimes, we just need to make a decision and see where it leads us. Starlight is said to be a fairy stone. It is very grounding and can help with your connection to nature spirits. I have found this stone to be particularly potent stone to get in tune with the 4 elements. As elemental beings can be powerful teachers, when you reach out to them, drawing this card may indicate it's time to make a grounded decision about something in your life, and having chestolite and starlight to aid you will be a good start. And then you have the exercise. It says, if you're at a crossroad, a good exercise to do with chestolite or starlight is to meditate and picture yourself walking up to that crossroad. See on the signpost the options or roads you can take. Do you feel a certain pull towards a specific path, or do you get the sense to not go down a certain road? So I think the exercise is also like a prompt, basically, of what you need to think about, or what you can think about when you when you draw this card. And I think you can also use this deck to learn about the crystals, because there is also a description of what the crystal can do or what it would be good for if you would read through the guidebook. Now, I would be interested to read through all of the entries here, because I am planning to do this more intentionally, and not randomly pick a card from the deck. Although of course I can also do that, but the way I'm thinking of using it would really be to pick a card from this deck and have that displayed and work with that. For example, if I want to connect with my spirit guides, then I would choose this card and have that displayed. If I wanted to work on my boundaries, then this would be the card that I would choose, something like that. But of course, you do whatever it is that you're called to do if this deck calls out to you. So that has been the flip through of the Crystal Grid Oracle by Deluxe Edition by Nicola McIntosh. I hope you like it, and if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to click on the like button and do consider subscribing to my channel. I post videos like this at least once a week. See you again next time. Bye!